All right, welcome. Good afternoon to the February 18th meeting of the Sacramento Area Flood Control Agency. Before we get started, I'd like to welcome a new board member, Mr. Nick Avdis, joining us. Welcome, Nick. I'd also like to recognize John Shields, who has retired from SAFCA and RD 1000 after about 10 years of service. We'll be having him back in March, so we can recognize and honor his service to the board of directors here. Okay, can we have the roll call, please?
Barbara LeVake. Here. Nick Avdis. Here. Tom Barandis. Here. Brian Holloway. Cyril Shaw. Here. Angelique Ashby. Jeff Harris. Here. Rick Jennings. Here. Roberta McGlashan. Here. Don Natoli. Here. Susan Peters. Patrick Kennedy. Here. Phil Cerna.
Here.
And we do have a quorum.
Very good. So, Nick, would you mind leading us in the pledge?
Would be fine. Salute and pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Madam Clerk, do you have announcements?
Thank you. This meeting of SAFCA is being broadcast live and will be cablecast without interruption on Metro Cable 14 and will be re-aired on Saturday, February 20th at 2 p.m. This meeting is also webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv, and streaming video is available on SAFCA's website within 48 hours after the meeting. Members of the audience wishing to address the board should fill out a blue speaker form located here on the dais or on the table at the back of chambers. When addressing the board, please identify yourself for the record, speak directly into the microphone, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Lindy. So I don't have any speaker slips for comments on items not on the agenda. On item number 1, which is a resolution of recognition, the honoree is not here yet, so we'll postpone that item and move to item number 2, which is a public hearing, which I will now open, and Mr. Tim Washburn will give us the information.
Public hearing on draft subsequent program environmental impact report, updated local funding mechanisms for the Sacramento area flood control improvements.
Thank you, Chairman Harris. Members of the board, Tim Washburn, Director of Planning. So the hearing today is on our subsequent program draft environmental impact report for updating the funding mechanisms that SAFCA relies on for its flood control program. And as you know, those funding mechanisms are our Consolidated Capital Assessment District, and B, our Development Impact Fee Program. I'll talk about both of those. The purpose of the EIR is to look at changes that have occurred with respect to those funding mechanisms that we're proposing, and then to look at a program level at the physical impacts on the environment that could result through any changes that we make in those funding mechanisms. Now, of course, those actual physical projects would not be implemented without subsequent detailed environmental review. We're just talking now about board actions to potentially implement a new consolidated capital assessment district and to update the development impact fee. So that's what this EIR covers. This public hearing is a necessity under CEQA. We're in the 45-day comment period. The draft was issued February 1. The comment period ends on March 16th. So we're open today for any public comments, but I want to do a little review at the outset. So to remind the board, it's a subsequent draft environmental impact report because the funding program that we're looking at was evaluated previously in 2006, 2007 when we created the first Consolidated Capital Assessment District. That's the EIR that the board certified in February of 2007. So really this document just looks at any changes in the funding program that have occurred since 2007 and any impacts to the environment that would be associated with those changes. The funding program is pretty familiar to you at this point. Rick's been over it several times. On our side of the river, it's improvements around Natomas, along the American River, in the North Sacramento Streams area, Folsom Dam, along the Sacramento River, and in the South Sacramento Streams Group area. But we're also including in the draft EIR improvements in the Yolo bypass, specifically in the Sacramento bypass and in the lower part of the Yolo bypass, which we would propose to fund with our updated development impact fee. So we are covering those improvements in this EIR with the expectation that they could actually get underway in the next 5 to 7 years with funding remaining in the state's Proposition 1E Systems Improvement Account. So the improvements that we're evaluating in the EIR have a near-term potentiality, and when we bring the development impact fee update back to you, which we expect to be sometime in June this year, we will want to make sure that the development impact fee can be used to cover costs associated with these improvements in the Yolo and Sacramento bypass. So the changes in the funded facilities, and I think we discussed this with you, we have a substantially more erosion control work, especially along the Sac River. In 2007, we didn't have the benefit of the Corps' general reevaluation report, so we really didn't envision a major program of erosion control along the Sac River. Expected that that would probably continue to be done under the Sacramento River Bank Protection Program, but as we know, the Corps has now included that in their GRR, and we need to fund it through our assessment district, so we've included some additional analysis in the EIR on that. Subsequent to the CCAD formation in 2007, Sutter County adopted the Sutter Point specific plan and specifically a drainage plan to go with it. Those of you who've been on the board for a long time know that we have an agreement with Sutter County that we're not going to close the low spot in the levee where Sankey Road comes into Natomas, the so-called Sankey Gap. Water does come through the Sankey Gap when flows in the Sacramento River are high enough. Those flows under the Sutter Point specific plan are to be managed with various internal and potentially external drainage improvements. We do believe we have a long-term solution to this problem in the form of lengthening the Fremont Weir and increasing flows through the Yolo bypass, which will lower water surface elevations all along the northern perimeter of the Natomas Basin in Sutter County and basically cut off the spills through the Sankey Gap. And that's a very attractive solution to the problem, but even though it will be most likely, I'd say certainly be in the update to the Central Valley Flood Protection Plan in 2017, there isn't adequate funding left in 1E to put it into the next 5 to 7 year program, so it's some time off, 10 years off, 15 years off, and so that's creating a problem for the Sutter Point folks to say, okay, what happens in the meantime? And so we are working with them to come up with interim measures to manage that drainage until the weir is widened. And we would expect to do that with the development impact fee and perhaps some portion of the assessments collected in Sutter Point if it gets going in that time frame. And so we're not really evaluating them, we're just making note that it's in the program. The environmental review was conducted by Sutter County as part of the Sutter Point specific plan adoption. We also have a levee modernization component that was not as fully developed in 2007 as it is now. In 2007, we did anticipate quite a bit of work on levees in addition to normal operation and maintenance, but as you know, as part of the state's update of the Central Valley Flood Protection Plan and the legislature's adoption of the Central Valley Flood Protection Act, they have adopted requirements that say over the next 30 to 40 years, they expect the city and county to obtain the ability to monitor conditions at the landside toe of the levee throughout all areas where we have state project levees. This is mostly an issue on the American and Sacramento Rivers, where, as you know, we tend to have development right up to the toe of the levee, and we will be expected, working with the city and county, to meet that state requirement over the next 4 decades. And so we've included a levee modernization component in our assessment and have evaluated it programmatically here. And then, of course, the Sacramento and Yolo bypass improvements that we didn't address at all in 2007, we're here addressing programmatically in anticipation that we will have a near-term program with the state to widen the Sacramento bypass, make improvements in the lower part of the bypass, and in the town of Rio Vista, as I say, perhaps in the next 5 to 7 years, covering that with our development impact fee. So those are the things that are new that weren't covered in 2007 that are covered in this draft EIR. The other notable change since 2007, again, Rick, I think has briefed you, is as part of the Central Valley Flood Protection Act of 2008, the legislature directed DWR to remap all the 200-year floodplains in the Central Valley. And so DWR has done that, and including in our area. And a major change in how they've mapped those floodplains is, well, in 2007, we basically relied on the maps that have been effective or had been effective at that time in Sacramento since 1989. And under those maps and under the standards that we used in the 1980s and 90s, it was assumed that rail embankments could serve as interior barriers to flooding, and if you had a levee failure and waters exiting the main stem rivers ran up against these rail embankments, the rail embankments would divert waters around and would act as levees. Under the standards used by DWR to do the remapping and under current federal standards, rail embankments cannot be used or cannot be considered to be functional levees, and so typically in these floodplain mapping exercises, those embankments are assumed to fail. And as you will note, the difference in our floodplain, it's pretty substantial. A large area of the Sacramento area that was potentially staying dry because of the function of a levee embankment is now in the floodplain, and the floodplain has a slightly larger dimension around its border to the southeast. So that's a major change in our definition, essentially, of the area of benefit of keeping waters from flooding. The program EIR basically identifies these significant and unavoidable impacts that this board will have to address when we bring the document back for certification probably in April, because you will need to make findings that these are acceptable significant impacts considering the social, economic, and other benefits of the program. But it's notable, these are not surprising. We're going to change existing visual viewscapes in various parts of the program, temporary exposure to construction noise, and then potential impacts. We haven't been able to do, obviously, detailed analysis of what our potential to encounter important cultural and archaeological resources. So those are being treated as potentially significant and unavoidable. And those are the impacts that the board will have to override when we come back in April. So I want to do then just a brief overview, because this is the subject mostly of the document of, well, what's in the draft engineer's report that was issued at the same time as the EIR. So both were issued on February 1st. So those changes in the way that we handle the interior rail embankments not only affected the size of the floodplain, but in particular the extent of the Sacramento River floodplain. The Sacramento River floodplain is the kind of mustard color, and it was formerly confined by the rail embankment that kind of runs along Highway 99 mostly. So the Sacramento River floodplain has gotten bigger, and therefore the benefit zones that are tied to protection along the Sacramento River are bigger. So folks who were formerly, let's say, just in the American River benefit zone are now in the American and Sacramento River benefit zone. The engineer's report says we've picked up, for example, about 15,000 single-family residential properties that are new to our floodplain that weren't here before because of the change in how we've handled the embankments. Those are mostly in the greenish American River benefit area. But we have an almost equal number, about 15,000 single-family residential properties that are now in both the American River and Sacramento River benefit areas. So that has an effect on the amount of the benefit they get and the amount of the assessment that they would need to pay under the new consolidated capital assessment district. So this is a pretty important change. The other thing is the yellow area, which was the old North Area Local Project benefit area, we've simply removed. It's not relevant to Natomas. All of Natomas is essentially benefiting from the improvements that were made in the old North Area Local Project. And so those, the continuing payment on the debt of the old North Area Local Project is simply spread to all of Natomas, and the yellow is just no longer relevant. Another major change is how we have handled the relative relationship of damage between various types of structures. In the 2007 Consolidated Assessment District, we used Federal Insurance Administration depth damage curves from 1988. Those were commonly used when we did the American River watershed investigation in the 1980s. We used them for the North Area Local Project Assessment District, Capital Assessment District number 2. And we used them for the American River South Sac Streams Assessment District in 2000 and used them again in 2007. Subsequently, the Corps, for purposes of their Folsom Dam modification study and for purposes of both the Natomas post-authorization change report, general reevaluation report, and the common features general reevaluation report, used these two new curves. One is the residential damage curve that is a national standard that the Corps adopted in 2000, and the other is a non-residential damage curve that the New Orleans district developed in 1997 based on experienced damages in the lower Mississippi area. Those curves were used by the Corps in the most recent studies of Sacramento. We felt that was probably the best available data. We used them in Natomas in 2011 for the North Area, or for the Natomas Basin Local Assessment District. And so we've decided this probably is the best available data and should be used for the Consolidated Capital Assessment District number 2. And it does have an impact, as I'll explain. The other changes are in capital costs, and I think Rick's explained this as probably we recall. I mean, we formed CCAD in 2007 in response to two primary developments. Number one, Natomas was going into the 100-year floodplain, and we needed to immediately respond to that. And number two, we had the Folsom Dam modification project. We had, if you recall, we had very high bids come in. In 2006, the project was completely reoriented to the auxiliary spillway, the kind of joint federal project concept, and we needed to get going with that project in 2007. We were continuing with the levee improvements along the American River. which had been authorized in 1996, and with the program in South Sac Stream. But we could not wait for the Corps to complete a general reevaluation of the levees around the Thomas or along the American and Sacramento Rivers because we needed to get going. Now they've completed their general reevaluation reports, and they've come in with much higher costs for levees around the Thomas and for along the Sacramento River, the American River. And that's the primary reason why we have increased capital costs between now and when we formed in 2007. So on the left side is what we estimated in 2007. We had a total of $246.5 million, our best guess of our costs, our best estimate of our cost in 2007. Now we estimate 488.5, so we have a differential of $242 million in capital costs of our local share that we have to cover with the new assessment district that is primarily a response to the Corps' completion of these general reevaluation reports, 2010 in the Thomas and 2015 outside. So we have to cover those capital costs. We have additional annual costs. So we have on two levels the system operation and maintenance costs that were built into the 07 CCAD, which cover the costs of our partner agencies in operating and maintaining levees, plus our costs for our share, or for operating and maintaining the improvements at Folsom Dam. We've bumped up in the proposed CCAD2 the per mile costs for the member agencies. We've had no escalation in those costs since 2007, so we've escalated those costs, and we've added costs for the temperature shutters at Folsom Dam, which are part of the Folsom Dam Raise project, which we didn't include in 2007 on the operation and maintenance side. And then we have this levee modernization cost, as I explained earlier, in order to meet state standards. So we have an addition of about $4 million a year in annual costs over and above where we were in 2007. Now the way that plays out in terms of the change in annual assessment on single-family residential is reflected here on this table. It's overall an increase of about $42 a year on each single-family residential property in the district. That's also the approximate average of the increase on new residential properties coming into the district. So it's about a $40 a year increase to fund these increased capital costs and increased annual costs. I didn't, by the way, include a table on commercial industrial, and that is because if you look at the engineer's report, because of the change in the depth damage curve, the assessment on commercial and industrial is either staying the same or going slightly down. So there's actually a slight reduction in the benefit to commercial industrial on the basis of these new depth damage curves than we assumed in 2007. So the assessment on commercial industrial properties will be approximately the same or slightly less. The schedule, as we discussed with you, it's in the engineer's report. We issued the documents here before you today on February 1st. This is our hearing on the draft EIR. Of course, we can have any discussion on the engineer's report. The engineer's report will be back before you if you care to discuss it any further in March, but we will also report to you in March on the comments, if we receive any, on the EIR. We also expect, perhaps by tomorrow, to issue the first SAFCA newsletter to all the property owners in the assessment district. And we intend to follow a pattern that within a short time, a day or two, after each of the next two board meetings, we would also issue newsletters. So the second newsletter would come out shortly after the March 17th meeting. Then we would have a meeting on a regular board meeting on April 21st, where we have a chance to make any changes in the draft engineer's report, and where we would ask the board to tentatively approve the draft engineer's report, certify the final EIR for the funding mechanisms, and give notice that we're going to commence the balloting process. The third newsletter would drop shortly thereafter, And commencing on May 3rd, the balloting process would begin. It's a 45-day process. We expect to have at least 12 community meetings spread throughout the assessment district, as we did in 2007, probably during the second and third weeks of May, so that we can address any issues and concerns that property owners may have. The balloting would end at a public hearing before the board at our regular meeting on June 16th. As you know from our last proceeding, you cannot close off the balloting until we've had a hearing before the board. And in the hearing before the board, property owners are free to either tender their ballots directly at the hearing or change a ballot that they have maybe mailed in during the 45-day period. The balloting ends only when the public hearing closes. And once the public hearing closes, and only then can we begin to count the ballots. You can't count the ballots until the balloting process is ended. So typically, as we did in the last go-round, we would adjourn the board meeting. The ballots are held in the custody of an accounting firm. The accounting firm, and last time it was a very transparent process. Anybody who wanted to go down and watch them count the ballots can go watch them count the ballots, but they count the ballots overnight, and then we reconvene the next day to hear the ballot count. If the protest, and this is a protest proceeding, if less than 50.1% protest, then the board has the authority to form the district and order the levy of assessments. That's the process. Now, in this instance, because we're refinancing debt that we incurred from the 2007 CCAD, it's not financially feasible to put the new levy onto the roll until August 2017, collectible in fiscal year 2017-2018. So there will be a year gap in time between the time the district technically has been approved and the time the assessment is first collected. Not unlike what we did in Natomas, there was actually a 3-year gap between the NBLAD formation and the assessment district collection. Here there would be a 1-year gap. And that is to be sure that we get the most optimal refinancing rate for the bonds we issued in 2007, and of course we're extending the period of the assessment. The 2007 was to end in 2037. CCAD 2 would end in 2047, so we've added 10 years, and it makes it a more attractive refinancing opportunity. So that is my presentation. I can either take questions later, or you can take the public comments, or what have you.
Question from Don Natoli to start out.
Quick question, Tim. And you may come up in public hearings, just your explanation, and I know this was a quick overview, but when you talk about the benefit adjustment for the commercial industrial categories and their assessment will go down, and yet you talk about you've gone through, you're working up to that about the improvements and what it's going to mean, and and the betterment of levies. I think in the minds of the single-family homeowners, who are the ones that are going to have increased rate structure, what is it that's different than if I have the store across the street or the warehouse that's down the road or my house, that if you're building the same levy that protects them and protects me and does improvements, how come theirs goes down and mine goes up? And so I just...
Yeah, I mean, it's purely just better data on the likely damages that the commercial industrial would experience relative to the residential.
What's that mean?
So we have new curves, new analyses of how much damage does a typical commercial structure suffer in a flood versus what a typical residential structure suffers. And we're obligated under 218 to make a precise assessment of what your special benefit is. Well, so it's a change. Yeah. It's a change in the data that we had since 2007.
Okay. Well, I guess I would just offer this up as a suggestion, again, for those of you that are going to be doing workshops at 12 different locales and so forth, and again, whether people bore into it or not, I do think that, again, maybe it's relative to the way the structures are constructed, i.e. if they're made out of concrete tilt-ups or if they're made out of, steel 2x6 framing versus, 2x6 wood. I don't know what all goes into that. I'm sure there's a methodology, but maybe be able to boil that down, Tim, because I do think that, it'll come back to, well, how come those that may, at least in people's minds, have the better ability to pay, they get a reduced assessment, and they're getting the same level of benefit, i.e. what you just said about damage assessment. I think that there needs to be a good explanation for the public, and again, my colleagues on the council and the board who represent those areas certainly going to get questions about lots of different aspects. But that just, as you were explaining that, it triggered with me. It's a sensitive enough subject anyway that that again, beyond having to do the study and what that study shows, having a simple explanation, it may not be satisfactory to folks, but I think that may be key to some of the questions you get out there in the months to come. So,
agreed.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions by directors? So the public hearing is open, and we are now open to taking comments from the public at large, and we have one speaker signed up to speak. Mr. Jim Geary, if you'd like to offer your comments for the subsequent draft EIR.
Thank you. My name is Jim Geary. I am with the Friends of the Sacramento River Parkway. I'm a 40-year resident of the Pocket area, and not only do I have an interest in seeing the parkway completed, but I'm obviously interested in seeing that our homes don't flood in the Pocket area. I have an increased responsibility in that regard now that my granddaughter and her parents have moved down to about 200 feet from the levee in the Pocket area. In any event, I have appeared a couple times in the past half a year about our concerns we had about the vegetation and tree removal that was anticipated because of the project along the east side of the Sacramento River. And I can tell you the staff have continued to cooperate and work with us very well. Very recently I had a very significant concern about what I saw in the engineer's report in regards to far more extensive removal of vegetation and trees, but Jay Davis was able to promptly respond and lay my fears to rest, at least for the time being. But if you read the engineer's report on that issue, this is a long-term project that is going to really change the dynamics of the vegetation and the trees along the Sacramento River Parkway. In any event, I did want to point out in regards to the financing issue. As some of you may know, there are already some issues being raised in nextdoor.com. There's a letter to the Bee today. There's a lot of misgivings about the financing that went on in the past. I have no idea whether or not any of them are accurate. But there is concern, I think, on two levels. One is some people are concerned that money that was allocated to their project was spent on other projects. I have no idea, as I say, whether or not that's accurate. But equally important, there's a fair number of people that really believe the levees were fixed, particularly in the Pocket area. And they raise more times than not at the coffee shops and on nextdoor.com, when we fixed all the levees. And now you're coming back to me and you start looking at the figures that are in the engineer's report on repairing the levees. There's going to be a fine task set out in front of SAFCA with a pretty aggressive timeline to convince the people of both that the levees need to be improved, not simply because regulations changed, but because they really do need to be improved, and that the financing mechanism is really beneficial to the individuals who are going to be voting on this project. And I think, as has already been pointed out, this question about lowering or remaining the same on financing through commercial establishments versus homeowners is going to be a very touchy subject, and is going to have to be explained quite clearly to our homeowners as to why that's happening. In any event, I do look forward with the Friends of the Parkway to work with SAFCA on particularly getting this most immediate project through. Get the proposal done, get the financing in place, and get the project done. And as I say, I congratulate the staff and Golco Consulting for continuing to work with us in the way they are. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Geary. Appreciate your comments. Do we have any comments from directors, in particular about the draft EIR? Anything you'd like included? Well, very good. Then we can close the public hearing. So closed. I would like to make actually one comment, not to go into the EIR, but it's important to remember that it's essential that we don't have FEMA remapping areas into the 100-year floodplain. If that is done, the imposition of substantial sums of flood insurance, could be incurred. So something to keep in mind in terms of addressing one of your concerns anyway. So thanks very much for that. I see that Colonel Farrell has arrived. Welcome. Good to see you again. So, Lindy, can you please read item number 1?
Yes, item number 1, resolution number 2016014, recognizing Colonel Michael J. Farrell for his contributions to improving flood protection in the Sacramento region on the occasion of a change of command for the Sacramento District of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
And Rick, go ahead.
Yeah, great. Chairman Harris, members of the board, good afternoon. I'd like Colonel Farrell, if he could come up.
I'll join you.
I'm really excited that he's here. He's got all kinds of folks from San Francisco and Washington and all over the place today, and I know your schedule's been busy, so excited to have him here. But Colonel Farrell came to us in July of 2013, and I put his resume in the written report. It's very impressive, but what I wanted to talk about is just everything that he has done for the community, and then have a reso that we present to him. He's on his way out pretty soon to his next assignment in Afghanistan, and grateful to try to get him here because he's going to be leaving pretty soon, and it was hard to get him. But just if you look at just strictly the project since he's been here, all our projects have moved forward in a super manner. Joint federal project out at Folsom is actually ahead of schedule, one of the largest civil works projects in the whole country. If you look at the water control manual for Folsom, that's going better than I ever expected that it would. South Sacramento Streams project, we're completing this year. American River, we're finishing up, and we'll actually have a ceremony here pretty soon. Colonel Farrell, I witnessed personally, he spent a whole lot of personal time on getting the American River GRR passed, both back in D.C. at the Alternatives Decision Milestone Conference and at the Civil Works Review Board, and I appreciate that. I don't believe that would have happened without his efforts there. And then also we got the construction funding, which I'll talk about in my engineers or my ED report, going for Natomas this year, and I know that he was behind all that. But those are the projects. But the thing that I wanted to really talk about was the impact he's just had on the culture. Colonel Farrell has reached out and worked with the sponsors, probably more so than any colonel I've met in a long time, and really appreciate that. In particular, reached out and made a connection with the state. Things were not in very good condition between the Corps and the state after some of the vegetation issues, and Colonel Farrell has connected with them and is working well again together. And because of that, a lot of the activities on some of the system improvements, like at Yolo Bypass, which so greatly can help our side of the river here in Sacramento with flood improvements, I credit a lot of that to Colonel Farrell and the way he's reached out. And the thing that probably I've noticed the most is he really cares. I mean, he really truly cares about making things better here. I felt it, and I appreciate it, and I'll miss that there. So with that, you've got a resolution in front of you, and we have it framed up here to thank Colonel Farrell for all of his efforts to helping us. I mean, we've put more in the ground in the last 5 years than we ever have as far as physical improvements go, and it was large part due to his leadership. So want to ask you to approve the resolution so we can give it to him, and then give him an opportunity, give the board an opportunity to say anything, and then give Colonel Farrell an opportunity to say anything.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Let's go ahead and vote on this so we can make comments afterwards. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Very good. Resolution
So we
is approved.
instantaneously now have it here for us. So.
I wish I could get my board.
So actually, I'd like to make a comment. You know, the auxiliary spillway is nearly done, and it is a truly incredible feat. As a general contractor, I've really admired the workmanship, just the quality of the whole thing, but what it means to us in terms of managing our flood control possibilities from the American River is really dynamic, and I know you've been a big part of that. So personally, I thank you. I hope that the heat and the drought in California have prepared you for Afghanistan. I think they probably have. And I just wanted to wish you personally all the best in your new assignment. So any other comments from directors? All right, Colonel Farrell, thanks so much for coming. We
Could I say
appreciate
a couple of words?
I would like to give you a chance to speak, too.
Can you pull up my slides? So I can see what I'm supposed to say? So, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice, and the rest of the board, it is an honor and a pleasure to come here. Any agency that's devoted to reducing flood risk in our communities is a friend of the Corps. Rick just kind of talked through some of what I was going to articulate about completing common features, at least the current phase, all the work out of the JFP, the good news in terms of budget alignment with Natomas and getting that project moving, and moving forward with both the next phase of common features and the West Sac projects. You deserve incredible accolades for that kind of packed success at the federal level in getting those projects resourced and approved. And it doesn't happen by accident. So I'd like to turn that around and make sure, and I think you are all aware, but you know, your front row over here, Rick, Jason, and Pete, probably could not be more effective. The ability of a local flood control agency such as yourselves to interact with a federal agency almost as peers and really keep us connected to the constituents. You know, the federal lens often it doesn't have a great deal of fidelity. And sitting here just listening in the last 20 minutes or so and recognizing, okay, you know, those decisions we made 18 months ago are trickling down to $42 an inhabitant on the other side of the levee. They are able to keep my team grounded in what it is we're doing and connecting us to the community. And as the gentleman behind me from the pocket commented earlier, this is a complex system, and it's going to take leadership and sustained support to get through implementation, and to explain why the pocket needs to be fixed yet again. Your agency is a tribute to the federal complement of really trying to get after reducing flood risk in our major urban areas. So it has been an absolute pleasure working with you, and to have your support and encouragement as we move through. It's great to see the progress that I know has been decades coming together and getting into implementation, where we're starting to see project after project line up and get implemented, so that the community here really does experience a greater level of flood risk reduction. So thank you very much. I really appreciate this, and the district is grateful for your support and partnership. I did take advantage of, many of you have at least heard of, and I know some of you have met Mr. Joe Calcara, who was our South Pacific Division Senior Executive Service Leader. Today, as Rick said, a lot of stuff going on. I wanted to introduce Mr. John D'Antonio here with us. He's Mr. Calcara's replacement in our kind of division leadership, spending the day here in the district talking. We just went through a several-hour brief of all the things going on in the basin, in the area, and getting him kind of read into the project. So I figured, hey, this is a great opportunity. Come meet SAFCA and the board. So, thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Farrell. And he's got such a busy schedule, so I'd like to offer to excuse him.
Thank you very much for coming.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
So Executive Director's report would be next.
So could you put that on? Yeah, I appreciate them getting over here. They've been packed in today. Okay, so a lot's happened since January we met. So I just want to go through some of it real quickly here. On the American River General Reevaluation Report, things keep moving forward on that. The Corps has completed the draft Chiefs report, and they have gone through and filed the final EIS for, it actually, I had 30-day review up here. I found out this morning it was 45-day review, so it actually will end March 7th. And they actually also had to do a state and agency review of the draft Chiefs report. Still on schedule to have our final Chiefs report ready in April of this year. And I'll explain in a little bit why that's so important here. The other thing that's occurred since the last meeting was in WARDA of 2014, the Transportation Infrastructure Committee set out a new requirement, kind of their way to get around the earmark ban that Congress had imposed on itself. And as a result, they required every year that the Corps of Engineers put forth what they call Section 7001, which was a section that authorized it, report that will show future projects that are potentially ready for authorization in that year. And they gave a certain amount of criteria to make it. Well, we worked hard with the Corps, and the General Reevaluation Report, American River Common Features 1, was included in that. The reason that was important is it's almost impossible to get approved in WARDA now with the new process that they've set up without being in that report. So that was a second very important step that occurred. And then with the Section 7001 report that was released, Congress has initiated the process for the next WARDA. Both the House T&I Committee, Transportation Infrastructure Committee, who has the authority to, they're the ones who put together the WARDA bill. And on the Senate side, it's the Environmental and Public Works Committee. Both have held hearings. Both have indicated their intention to develop a bill this spring and to get it through this year. They're calling it a authorization heavy and policy light bill. So last time part of what took so long was all the changes in policy that they included. So this year they're trying to avoid that there. It's important, and we're working real hard to make sure that our American River GRR makes it in that authorization. And this would be SAFCA's largest authorization to date, almost $1.6 billion. So it's an important one there. Okay, moving from the authorization side to the appropriation side, also since the last board meeting, two things occurred. On February 9th, the President released his proposed fiscal year 2017 budget, and also in December, the Congress had passed the appropriations bill for fiscal year 2016, which actually started October of last year. But as part of it, they didn't fully fund the President's request for core projects, and so they gave them a pot of money and told them to develop a work plan and to respond with that work plan. So in addition to the President's budget coming out, the work plan was also released that same day. So this table summarizes what we got. Originally in the appropriations bill that was passed in September, we had a little over $78 million for our projects. the work plan added another $16 million, and I'll talk a little more detail of what was in there just overall. And then the proposed president's budget for fiscal year 17 had about almost $63 million in for our project. So let's talk a little bit more detail about what's in there. As far as Natomas goes, we received construction funding for Natomas. In the fiscal year 2016 work plan, the Congress had given authority and to end up being 3 projects that could start construction, and the administration picked Natomas as one of those. Now, we'd been worried about getting Natomas started because since 2010, every year the president has proposed new construction starts, and Congress has pulled them out. And in fact, since 2010, they've only allowed 1 new flood control start. So we've had a whole backlog, 6 years of backlogs of projects ahead of us. So the reason this is important is these projects have already been approved by Congress. They don't have to go anymore. So now that we've been identified, we're good to go. In addition, the president put in his 17 budget additional funding for Natomas. The key to this is I've been worried that we would get our first construction funding in the 17 budget, which is being proposed by President Obama for the next administration. Often in those types of years, Congress never acts on those budgets because they're waiting to see who the next president is that comes in, and then they massage it, and oftentimes they'll do continuing resolutions for most or all of the year. Since we're now approved in the 16 budget and it's already been blessed by Congress, even if they end up not passing the appropriations bill for 17, the Corps, through the continuing resolution authorities, can continue construction in Natomas. So this was a huge, huge win for us. And Congressman Matsui, I got to give her a lot of credit. She worked behind the scenes tirelessly with the administration for that one. So this was great news. So the key to this is one of the provisions in the work plan was we have to have a cost share agreement in place by August. So we've already been meeting with the Corps. There's a few issues we still are going to have to work out. The cost share agreement's actually between the state and the Corps. State's on board. We're going to get that done, but that's one of the provisions of being eligible for this. So that was, from Natomas side, this was just a great, great victory there. Other significant things I wanted to point out is 2017 is the last significant funding request for the joint federal project. It is expected to be done in 2017, and they're expected to not need any more funding to do the closeout afterwards. So it's kind of a milestone there. The other thing is, both in the 16 and 17 budgets, we had funding for the initial construction at the Folsom Dam raise. So as we finish up the joint federal project there, then we go right into working on raising the dam. And then finally, the funding got put in for the Sacramento River General Reevaluation Report. That's the project that we've talked about last time, where the Corps and the state are, and we're trying to get the locals involved too, are looking at improvements to the system, in particular the Yolo bypass, that will help improve our flood on this side there. So moving on to just a couple of pictures real quick. After at the last board meeting, I know there was some discussion about some leakage in the Coffer Dam, and I'd mentioned that the plan was to go ahead and water the gates anyway the next week. So they started doing that. This is a picture from January 29th. They put a number of pipes up and over that earthen embankment out there and started pumping water to bring it up slowly to equalize the pressure on both sides. This is a picture the next day. They actually have a cut there to bring it up even more. This one is about a week later. You can see this is up against, all the gates are fully submerged here. You can't even see any of them at this point. This is the 5th. This is the 12th of February, about another week later. And on this next one, this is from the dam looking back. You can see where the coffer dam used to be is completely submerged now. So the contractor is in the process of putting some barges together, and they'll go out and finish removing the rest of the earthen dam from barge to finish the approach channel there. But anyway, the gates are completely watered and functioning, and they're now what's holding the lake back from Sacramento. So looking downstream, they're still working on the channel downstream, and this is, they're putting aggregate fill on the backside of the walls there, just pulling out a little bit so you can see what I mean. They're filling in the area that was excavated and the new concrete walls, and then pulling just from another angle. You can see it on that side, plus they're still finishing the concrete work in the middle of the channel going downstream there. The one thing I do want to point out that's significant is if we had a flood event right now, we could utilize the gates. So it would cause some damage to the structure downstream because it's not complete, but we do have a additional safety net that we didn't before. So it's just been great to get that in place. So that's really all I have. See if there's any questions.
Questions? Yeah, Director Peters.
Thank you. On that last slide you had showed the spillway. How long is the spillway?
The spillway is about a third of a mile long, Pete, is that right? Yeah, it about a third of a mile from the dam down to the river there.
Wow. I don't suppose you have any idea how many gallons or however they measure concrete, how much?
You know, actually, we have that. I don't remember off the top of my head. Do you, Pete?
We can get that information for you,
yeah,
but I don't know.
Go with lots right now, huh?
It
lots
is,
and lots.
Yeah,
it is lots, and the Corps has, we'll find it, because I know they put it together not only just in cubic yards, but also trying to say how many concrete trucks and how many house foundations and things like that. So we'll get that information and send that out.
It'd be kind of fun to know at this point now that we can see the project.
Right. No, sounds good. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair. I have
Sorry, go ahead, Phil.
request to speak in here. I just wanted to dovetail off of Rick's thanks to Congresswoman Matsui. I believe this is the first SAFCA hearing we've had since the President's budget has been released. And I know we say it a lot, but she deserves it a lot and more. And I know it's a team effort to secure flood protection for that part of my supervisorial district in Natomas, and as a resident there, and certainly as a SAFCA board member, her continuing efforts that result in the kind of advances we see evident in a budget like this, I think is worthy of extra note. And certainly as a representative for Natomas, I want to express my sincerest thanks to her for her championing this and her leadership.
Great, great, thank you.
Yeah, I'd just like to add on that.
We'll pass that on.
I was lucky enough to see Congresswoman a little earlier today and expressed our thanks for all that she's done. She knows she's appreciated.
Great.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
Our next items are consent matters, and items 4 through 9 are in order.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, can we pull item number 9? Just have a question about it.
Okay, certainly. So you want to pull it rather than just make a comment?
Yes, and with that, I'll move the rest of the consent calendar items 4
items
through 8.
4 through 8 are moved. Do we have a second? Let's have a second from Director Natoli. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. So, Director Shaw, go ahead on
Item number 9, Resolution 2016-019, authorizing the Executive Director to execute contract change order number 4 for the Natomas Levee Improvement Program, Sacramento River East Levee, project site finish grading work, Sacramento County, California, contract 4193 with Sierra National Construction, Inc.
Thank you. And it's the item, it just caught my attention because the amount of I recognize that the amount of the change order is quite small relative to the contract amount, and normally the executive director would be able to authorize it. So read in the staff report that I believe the reason that's in here is that we're going over the 10%, change order amount from a publicly awarded contract. And so I just wanted to know, it says in the staff report that as a board, we're acknowledging that and acknowledging that it's, if not common practice, at least authorized by an opinion of the California Supreme Court. So I would just feel more comfortable knowing if this is something that we've done in the past, do on a regular basis, or if it's common practice amongst other agencies to use this common sense interpretation.
I'll let Holly weigh in on the legal aspects of it, but this is common practice. And that provisions of the Public Contract Code were utilized in the second half of the authorization, which the board specifically gave the executive director ability to execute change orders in a certain bandwidth. And we are just going over the bandwidth of a signature authority. So the resolution called for us to come back to the board to basically ratify the prior change orders that were done under signature authority and then add a change order number 4.
So that's what triggered putting it on the agenda, not the 10%, going over the 10% amount.
Correct. It's if you look at, I think John did put it in the staff report, our change order procedure, which you adopted in 2013. It's very convoluted. I mean, not convoluted, but you have to do the math. And we had exceeded those limits and therefore had to bring this change order number 4 to the board.
Okay, so it's not the Public Contract Code that put it on the agenda. It's that we cumulatively went over that amount.
Correct.
Okay, great. Well, I'll move the item. Thank you.
We have a second from Director Jennings. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Carries.
Separate matters, item 10, resolution number 2016020, authorizing the executive director to execute an amendment to a consultant services contract with GEI Consultants for environmental services associated with SAFCA's levee accreditation program.
Good afternoon, Pete Gelfi, Director of Engineering. This is a measure that we've taken as we advance our levee accreditation program. We are in need of environmental services to keep this process on track, in essence trying to award a contract by the end of this year to start work in the north area. We had selected, as part of our levee accreditation team, an environmental consultant to perform these services. This environmental consultant firm has had significant staff changes, and we are looking to re-advertise those environmental services, but we need a contract in the meantime to keep us going. We had issued an RFQ at the end of last month, and we'll be evaluating those qualifications and more than likely be in front of you in March with a selection of a new with environmental consultant contracts for our array of services. This is to get us through that time frame, basically until about April 1. So need your approval to amend this contract to keep these services going.
Okay, I see no request to speak.
So moved.
Moved by Director Natoli. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Director LeVake. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Item number 11, resolution number 2016021, authorizing the executive director to amend a consultant services contract with URS Corporation for engineering and associated services for improvements along the north area levee system.
Good afternoon, Pete Gelfi again. This is for our north area levee work. URS has been our lead designer on this effort, and this amendment is to get the plans to the state for bid. They have some cleanup work to do. We are at the 90%. Design drawings are out for comment. This will be able to take us roughly to the end of the year, allowing us to be able to bid the document. If we do go out, put it to bid, we would need to come back with another amendment for engineering services for support during construction, but this is just to get us to the bid stage.
Again, so moved.
Second.
A motion and second. See no comments, so all those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
you.
Abstentions? None. Motion carries.
Item number 12, resolution number 2016-022, appointment of the Sacramento River Flood Control Project General Reevaluation Report, local agency, executive committee member.
Great.
Mr.
Good
Johnson.
afternoon again. Couple of things, just a reminder, last month we brought to the board a resolution to approve execution of a memorandum of agreement between our regional partners. The purpose of that was to, I mentioned earlier, the Corps of Engineers in the state of California are doing a Sacramento River general reevaluation report of the system there, and we are trying to participate as the local participants. The regional agencies included County of Solano County Water Agency, Reclamation District 2068, Yolo County, West Sacramento Area Flood Control Agency, and ourselves. And so that MOA established a local agency executive committee, which was to consist of elected board members from each of the agencies that would serve to provide oversight and direction for the activities. And so each party is to appoint one elected board member to serve as that. So the resolution you have before you now, we're suggesting that the board consider appointing Chairman Jeff Harris as that executive committee member representing SAFCA. We have regular briefings with the board chair, and so it's a good way of being able to keep him up to speed on everything he needs to do to participate in that committee, and it seemed like the most efficient way to go. So that's what we're requesting in this.
Before you can talk us out of it, I make move that we appoint Jeff Harris.
Second. Motion and second. I was just going to say I'm so busy. Too late. Too late. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? None. Motion carries.
Congratulations.
I was going to say condolences.
Yeah.
Item number 13, resolution number 2016-023, authorizing the executive director to execute the YOLO bypass and cash slew partnership memorandum of understanding regarding collaboration and cooperation in the YOLO bypass and cash slew region.
Okay, if you can hit the next one. Okay, this is a little confusing. This is an entirely different activity than the one we just talked about. That regional team was our regional partnership that was put together through the Central Valley Flood Protection Plan process. What this one is the governor's office recognized that in the YOLO bypass there are all kinds of agencies looking at projects that they're going to implement in the YOLO bypass. There's a number of agencies looking at environmental enhancement, environmental restoration. The state and the Bureau of Reclamation have requirements under some biological opinions to do mitigation in the bypass. And then in addition, the state, the Corps, and our regional partnerships are all looking at activities in the bypass for flood control. So the governor's office recognized that all these things are going on, appointed Chris Chernell as to basically giving him the assignment to get everybody together and make sure they're coordinated so that there's some type of cohesion to the way we're moving forward. So Chris has pulled together a meeting of a partnership in September. After that meeting, it was agreed we'd come up with a memorandum of understanding. We met again about a week ago, and we've been asked to take this memorandum of understanding to each of our respective agencies. It's not a legally binding document. Basically, all it says is that each of these agencies intends to work cooperatively and collaboratively with each other. So the agencies involved, there's a number of them: federal agencies, Bureau of Reclamation, National Marine Fisheries Services, Corps of Engineers, and Fish and Wildlife. From the state side, we've got Department of Natural Resources, Water Resource and Fish and Wildlife, Central Valley Flood Protection Board, and the State Water Resources Control Board. County-wise, we got Yolo and Solano County, and then they've asked Sacramento Area Flood Control Agency, Reclamation District 2068, and Solano County Water Agency. Those are the ones that the governor's office has approached to participate in this partnership. So because the flood improvements that we get by doing these improvements in the Yolo bypass, I mean, basically they hugely, most of the benefits are to our side of the river, to Sacramento. And so we recommend that we approve this resolution authorizing us to sign the memorandum of understanding that basically says we'll agree to coordinate and cooperate with the others as these move forward. So that's basically the summary of that.
Okay, Director Natoli.
Yeah, just very quickly, Rick, I know that you and staff have certainly spoken with me about this some time ago. Appreciate Tim's work and leadership, certainly yours as well. And I guess the only caution I would just draw our attention to, and you're well aware of this, and I think that was one of the reasons you'd visited, at least with me on this, certainly as SAFCA chair last year, but is that when they made the announcement that they were taking BDCP and breaking it into the California Water Fix, i.e. the Twin Tunnel Project, and then California Eco Restore, again, this work has been ongoing. It's important work. It has many partners, and I don't discount any of that. But knowing that there's a full court press on right now to advance the Twin Tunnel Project, and that certainly claims as to how they're helping improve the environment and doing all the wonderful things that supposedly are going to come of this overall approach, although bifurcated. I just again would suggest caution. I think you're well aware of it. Certainly, SAFCA has this particular interest in providing for the safety of its people and property within its jurisdiction. But I wonder what sort of credit will be claimed by the state and the governor's office. I'll be very frank about this as to the efforts that they're making to advance 30,000 acres of habitat restoration, much of which is already required under previous biological opinions and other agreements and other efforts that are going on, including ours. And so I want to put that out there because it's something that I think people need to be aware of, that there's a pretty full effort in many different facets to advance the Twin Tunnel Project. And I would just hesitate if somehow we were going to get drawn into that, but not to discount any of this work. Yeah. And I think that makes sense to go ahead with this MOA, recognizing what you said about how it binds us or not with regards to the work. So.
Yeah, and we appreciate that, Director Natoli. We recognize that, and in fact, if you notice, a whole number of those agencies also have similar concerns. So at the September meeting, the Natural Resources Agency, who is over the Twin Tunnels, they actually came out and stated that this was not going to include the Twin Tunnels as a way of making sure that all the agencies would be willing to participate there. So, and Tim, I don't know if you want to add anything to that. So,
thank you.
Okay, I see no more comments or questions. Do we have a motion? By Director Jennings, second?
Second.
From Director McClashen, I think she beat you by a millisecond. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? None? Motion carries.
Item number 14, resolution number 2016-024, awarding the contract for the Site 18A culvert replacement and fish passage enhancement project, Sacramento County, California, contract 4284, to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, and authorizing the executive director or his designee to execute the contract.
Mr. Chair, member of the board, John Bassett, Director of Engineering. As read, this would award the Site 18A project to the lowest responsible bidder, Glissman Excavating Incorporated, and authorize the executive director to execute the contract in the amount of $672,602.35. This project is south of the Garden Highway, east of Northgate Boulevard. It's an old site that SAFCA used to generate borrow in the 1996 flood control improvements on the North Area Local Project, and this would improve the or reduce the potential for fish to get trapped in the basin that was part of that excavation. I can take any other comment or questions if the board has any.
I see no comments registered, so do I have a motion on this one?
Second.
Okay, did you get that, Lenny?
Right.
Okay, very
First
good.
by Brian Holloway and second by Director Natoli.
Very good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? None. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item number 15, resolutions authorizing the executive director to implement the Florin Creek Multi-Use Basin Project. A is authorizing the executive director or his designee to execute an amendment to the agreement for cost sharing in the Florin Creek Multi-Use Basin, and resolution B authorizes award of the contract.
Good afternoon, Pete Gelfie. This is related to the South Sacramento Streams Groups program. As you heard the Corps mention, they are getting ready to wrap up their element of the program. Part of that work, though, needs some help by the non-federal interests, and that is in creating a detention basin off of Florin Creek downstream of Highway 99, and we're cooperating with the Southgate Recreation and Park District in doing that. We recently received the bids for us to construct the detention basin, and they came in higher than the engineer's estimate, which in essence put us over the estimated cost of the project, and this project was being partially cost shared by the City of Sacramento. Part of the agreement with the City of Sacramento is that we would have to go back to them to revise the agreement for increasing their cost share. As a result of this, the first order on the resolution on this package is giving the executive director to amend the agreement that we have with the City of Sacramento for the cost share. We do not have that agreement in place with the city, though they have indicated their willingness to take this item to their council to give them the cost sharing ability as we move forward. The second action on this action, or this resolution, or this item, is to award the construction contract to DeSilva Gates, the low bidder, for a contract amount of $3,666,660. This would be the last element of the South Sacramento Streams Groups program, and this is our way of bringing flood insurance relief to the residents in that area. We have already started the first initial part of the work by removing trees in the existing park, so we didn't have to worry about nesting season. And this is an element that we can get the contractor out there this spring, complete the work this construction season, corresponding with the Corps contractor that is making improvements to Florin Creek, who plans on completing that work this construction season as well. So that would hopefully put us in a position by the end of this year to make a submittal to FEMA to apply for insurance relief and remapping of those residents in the floodplain of Florin Creek.
Very good. I have one comment, and that is that I spoke to our Director of Utilities at the city and our city attorney's office, and they both expressed that they were amenable to SAFCA moving this forward and bringing back to this City of Sacramento Council, so we don't have any problems moving forward from that point of view. And do we have a motion?
Move it.
Director Kennedy, a motion, and a second?
Second.
Second from Director Natoli. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? And this is for both resolutions. Yeah. Okay, very good. The last item was receive and file. Before we adjourn, I just wanted to mention that we have the possibility to, well, I was asked to direct staff where we would hold these meetings. I guess the idea is that whoever is chair, whoever represents, the entity as the chair, be it the city or the county, can request that the meeting be held either here at the county or at the city. And staff indicated to me they would be amenable to a move to the city. This would take place in April unless there are objections from any directors. So the next meeting in March will be held here at the county. Subsequent to that would be held in city council chambers if there are no objections. Okay, that's just point of information. Meeting adjourned.